sit right there real quick. Okay, so that's our tricks from that position. Those are not necessarily techniques. I guess technically they are, but they're outside what we call core skills. So when you have a 14-day camp like you guys do, you can master the core skills, but also move on to more. So what we're doing over here is we're basically saying we've kind of reverse engineered how to win a high-level wrestling match. So what your wrestling should, for a lot of us who've been wrestling a long time, get smaller. And so I learned this at Oklahoma State when I was there years ago, and it changed everything. It made a lot of sense. So it's like, they're like, why do you wrestle chest to chest over under? I was like, I'm good there. Why do you wrestle overhook, Russian 2-on-1? There was a few other positions. And they were like, no, you don't wrestle from those positions. Your opponent can score as easy as you can. They're like 50-50 positions. Or it's very tough to score consistently from an overhook. So we don't do that in here. And I was like, but I think I'm good there. And they're like, you're going to get somebody from Iran who underhooks for a living. If he doesn't score with his underhook, his kids don't eat. And they're like, you're not gonna beat him. So your goal is, and this is kind of what we like to say, take your technique notebook and you say, Russian 2-on-1, rip, throw it in the trash. Over under chest to chest, rip, throw it in the trash. Now sure, maybe in the sport of Greco-Roman, you might be over under. So look at some of these positions, right? And like maybe even a crab ride. Very specialty position for most people. So we don't want to wrestle from a crab ride, most of us. Okay, now I might do that with a rare kid, but I remember when I was a wrestler, I guess I was a junior and I was wrestling with John Smith because he was, I got to train with John a lot. And he's like, what are you doing crab riding me? I'm like, I'm just trying to get good from there. He's like, it's impossible. Knock it off. I was like, okay. So I rip, throw it in the trash. So your wrestling gets smaller, doesn't it? You don't try to learn it all. It's like a weight room. If I have a weightlifting plan from, a high-level college wrestling team, or even our gym, right? You've got a wrestling-specific training program, in season, off season, preseason. You have a nutritional plan. You have a plan. But let's pretend. Let's say that, you're a high-level football player in Nebraska football camp. You give them $100 and they gave you their weightlifting plan. When you take that plan and you go into Gold's Gym, it's like, 150,000 square feet. You're not going to touch most of that equipment. You're just not. There's a pink bouncy ball. You're not going to sit on the pink bouncy ball. That's for the old ladies. There's a thigh master. There's all these pulley machines. There's a whole maze of like little machines with pulleys and stuff. No, we don't touch the pulley machines. We don't do the thigh master. We're not going to sit on the pink bouncy ball. We're not doing that. Big old tire to flip. Okay. Sled pushes, sled drags, right? In our gym, we have a 40-yard indoor turf track. It's over 40, 123 foot. Sleds, sled drives, sled pulls backwards, sideways. Yes, deadlifts, squats, plyometrics. So you're like, wow, this plan's making me really strong. Maybe you got it out of famous wrestling colleges, so wrestling plan. Or wherever you got it. And you're like, I like this. It works. Now, if you get a weightlifting plan from a program that's not proven, you might say, I don't know if this is going to work. But I guarantee you, if you're a football player and the University of Nebraska, you get their weightlifting plan, you probably can say, I think I'm just going to do this. Man, I really, really would like to go on that pulley machine. Nope, be disciplined. Or maybe I could do that exercise. My basketball coach in junior high taught my sister, and that looks like a good exercise. Nope, let's stay focused. Let's stay disciplined here. You go, well, wouldn't it be okay just to go do some of the other stuff? No, it doesn't help. It actually hurts you. Because if you're on the pulley machine and all these other stuff, when it's time to do deadlifts, you can't do as much. So it does hurt you. It does hurt you. And if you're trying to master 22 things to do from a Russian 2-on-1 in a folk style wrestling match. That's time you're not head blocking, thumb blocking, down blocking, elbow passing, moving your feet, using the fight with your hands, re-attacking, how to pick up a single leg 3 different ways, 6 single leg finishes from your feet, 3 ways to get out of a front headlock, 3 awesome mat returns. You got to know that stuff. You're not going to have time or energy to drill that stuff if you're screwing around with there's 11 different ways to hit a lateral drop. No, don't do it. It's a trick. So what we do now, wrestling still is still pretty. That's a 4-page drill plan. I think there's 78 wrestling techniques. That plan has not changed 4 times in 17 years. Minor changes. And I will tell you that in our academy, there's over 400, 75, 80 kids train with us every week. On average, in the past 6 years, 21% of all of Missouri state champions train on this black mat. And I'm not saying they came to our academy 5 years ago, one time. We don't play games. We don't count those kids. If they quit, they're not on the list. They could train here year-round for 8 years. If they don't train with us for a year and they win state, we don't count them on our list because I don't think it's fair. So that's a real number. 21, I think it was 24%. Almost 1 in 4 on average out of all of the high school state champions in the entire state of Missouri. The average for 6 years is 21%. Over 1 in 5 of all of Missouri state champions training right here. Okay, year-round. Well, they don't train during high school season because of our stupid rules. All right, I lose them for 4 months. Otherwise, we probably have 30%. I'm not even lying. But, so why do I say that? Because if you have a weightlifting plan from, some university in football that never wins anything, you might second guess that weightlifting plan. You get a weightlifting plan, from our gym or from Oklahoma State or Iowa, you're like, University of Nebraska football weightlifting program, you can probably say, I bet it's pretty good, right? So it takes the nervousness out. And I think that having a plan here, we like to say 95% of your points come from 5% of the wrestling. That's what we do in our 5-day camps. Here it's the same philosophy, but we go deeper into the positions. So, there's 9 things to do from a front headlock. Some of those are counters to counters, right? We don't have time for that in a 5-day camp. So if you come to our 5-day camp, all that stuff is on there, but there's a lot more here because we're here for 14 days, okay? So I want to re-emphasize, and the reason we mentioned that, we have had 39 of our kids sign Division I scholarships in the past 2 years and 8 months. A bunch of Division II, NAIA. I don't care about Division I. I don't care about any of it. If you get a chance to wrestle in college, you should be proud, okay? He's in a Division II school. Tremendous, all right? So, but in the eyes of you guys and your parents, Division I carries a little more weight. So I would like to mention 39, and that's no fuzzy math. That's a real number. 2 years and 8 months come from this mat. So why do I say that? To brag? No. So that when you say, I'm going to listen to this guy, I'm going to listen to his coaches. I think that plan's pretty good. Just like my Nebraska football weightlifting plan is pretty good for my football season. Sometimes you just need to hear, don't you? So that's the reason I like to mention the success that we've had. Not a whole lot of different stuff is taking place than what we do here. Now, if you don't have an opportunity to train here a lot, you can take that plan home and keep drilling it. We're going to email it to you. Camp does not end until you make it in. You can drill that plan once or twice a week for the next 10 years if you want, can't you? When I get the Nebraska football plan, I can do that when I'm 55 years old, 60, 70. The plan can, once it's learned, the plan can keep being worked, okay? Now, obviously, kids come back year after year because you get 200 matches worth of live with different partners. Go through it again, re-drill, right? But I think it's important to have a plan. And when you say, some people say college wrestling is boring, all the matches look the same. I'm like, dude, that's by design. That's not an accident. It's by design. You should look that way too. Now there's a rare kid like Jordan Burroughs can shoot from 11 foot away. Bo Nichols kind of stands up and wrestles weird. Hey, there's a few kids that can do some weird stuff, but 99% of those college men, they all kind of look the same. That's good, right? So I want to encourage you to go really deep with us. Anytime we say something, just listen. We've had just started our 25th year, and we have a lot of success. So what happens is you have too much information. There's too much Instagram wrestling moves. There's too much TikTok wrestling moves. Just go to YouTube and listen to everything that Cael Sanderson says. That's a pretty good place to start. Maybe Tom Brands, John Smith, David Taylor, Tom Ryan, John Bormet, maybe Yanni, maybe Jason Nall, Helen Maroulis. She's on her 3rd Olympic team. You might be able to learn from her. Have you ever listened to her interviews? Right? She said something that was very cool. She tried to make her 1st Olympic team and she didn't do it. And she said, my coaches were saying, you want to make this team. You don't have to make this Olympic team. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I need this. I need this. And she says, I didn't make the team. And she didn't think she performed very well. And she's like, coach was right. I want to do this sport. I don't need to win, because that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. You want this. We're happy. We're happy warriors. Google that, happy warrior. It's an old term. You want to love it. You got it, right? So you could learn that. But see, if I had not listened to her interview, I wouldn't have heard that. And I was like, man, that is so good. Dude, I wish I had social media. Your parents say, oh, social media is bad. If you use it right, it's not. If I could have listened to learn from Helen Maroulis when I was a kid or in college, that would have changed my career. Just that would have changed my career. Listen to Cael Sanderson stuff and Thomas Gilman. I'm like, dude, they're giving their secrets away. So I want you to pick around and learn stuff, but when it comes down to a system, I think it's good just to say, I'm just going to do this for a while. I'm going to do what Nick said and what we did at his camp and go really deep. There's so many people out there that you're going to get lost. There's too much information. Find a couple of people, we're on that list, and go really deep. Subscribe to YouTube. Doesn't cost anything. Listen to everything. Listen to it 100 times. Read everything. Look at everything. Drill that list. Just hit 10 reps. You're literally going to, the last 4 days of this camp is all review. And there's review built in. Okay? So you're going to literally get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps of everything. You're going to know this. You don't have to relearn it. You don't have to drill this 9,000 times when you get home. Just hit 10 reps. It's called touching through your drills. All right? Some of your leg riding tricks we just did. Just look at it, hit 5. Look at the next one, hit 5. Okay. You just hit 5 or 10 a week so you can stay fresh. And then your ample drill time is on the high level stuff, okay? So you don't have to drill this 7 days a week for 9 hours. Just 2 hours a week. If you just drill that 1 hour on Monday, 1 hour on Thursday, get some live wrestling. You'd be amazed. It's so easy. Oh, it's so easy. People are like, how come your kids are winning so much? I'm like, it's so easy. All right? And we're in Missouri. Missouri's a good state, but it's not Ohio. It's not Iowa. We're not Pennsylvania. We have Missouri kids who are knocking the socks off with some good kids in America who have, they're from big wrestling states. Okay? So I want to encourage you to do a couple of things so you can make it through the camp. Number one, understand how your mind works. Understand motivation and being discouraged. So if I'm thinking about pizza, cutting weight sucks. But if I think about my state title, my state medal, how ferocious I'm going to look, how I'm getting lean and mean, weightlifting doesn't suck anymore. It's still hard, but if you think about pizza, no, I'm going to steer my thoughts. You have to learn to steer your thoughts, don't you? Okay? Secondly, remind yourself that you love it. I'm not necessarily a fan. When people are like, oh, I'm grinding today, I'm really sacrificing. I'm like, when you hear about Yanni, they're like, I can't keep the guy out of the wrestling room. You guys signed up for this. You like wrestling, don't you? Yeah. You're like, dude, I like wrestling. Then come to practice with a smile on your face. I want to be here. You shouldn't come here and, coach made me drill. Coach made me lift weights. I'm like, dude, quit. Just quit. Go join drama club or something. I don't know. Just quit. Well, no, why would I quit? I love wrestling. Really? Then why are you dragging in here and act like someone's torturing you? You don't act like that when you're watching Netflix or playing your favorite video game or going to putt-putt golf with your buddies or your girlfriend. No. Like, oh no, why I like doing that? Well, you like wrestling? Yeah. Well, then be just as happy. You should have a smile on your face when you come in here. Because I like being here. I want to be here. Now, sure, is it easy if you don't sleep good to get up and start practice at 8 o'clock? Probably not, but tomorrow you get started at 10. So we do that for you, right? But you're still going to get up at 7:30 the same day. We're going to be on a schedule. We're going to sleep the same time and wake up the same time, but it's a little bit nice. So let's say that you did sleep bad and you got to practice at 8. You do have to push yourself a little bit. Boo-hoo. I mean, oh well. Think about what your mom does. You ever see how, all right, your moms are like, the way these women work, your dad too. Shut up, right? So, control your thoughts and remind yourself that you love it. That's one of our phrases. Remind yourself that you love it. I love this stuff, okay? I was just watching an interview David Taylor did about the Iranian, and he was like, Yazdani has not competed with a smile on his face in a long time. And now he is. So what does that mean, compete with a smile on your face? That's like a Cale Sanderson thing. Dude, you should smile. You want to be here, don't you? Yeah. What are you scared about? Right? So I want you to be happy and say, I love this. I want to be here. But sometimes you got to remind ourselves that we love it, right? It's like, starting at 8 o'clock isn't always easy. Wrestling practice when you've already dehydrated 5 pounds out of your body and you got to cut 2 more. That's not easy. So on those occasions, we have to remind ourselves that we love it. Zane Rutherford, after he qualified the Olympics for the Olympic team, he was like, he had to win like 5 matches in like 3 hours against the best guys in the world. And he had lost earlier in the tournament, and so he had to win all of his matches. He was like, you know what? Because I kept reminding myself, just be where your feet are at. I'm here at a tournament. I love this, And those use the word grateful. I'm grateful that I got to be here. I get to be the man. I'm number 1 in Team USA. I get a chance to qualify the rate. This is an opportunity. I'm so happy that I'm the guy that gets to try to do this. And he was like, I just loved it. He goes, he's cutting a lot of weight right now for this Olympic weight. And he goes, it's going to sound odd, but I even enjoyed the weight cutting. Now think about that. Here's Zane Rutherford. I think it was like 198-0 in high school or something. 3-time NCAA champion, world champion, and now he's on the Olympic team. And he said, I even had fun during the weight cut. Yeah, that's why I want you guys to be happy and say, I want to be here. Do you want to wrestle or not? Okay? My younger brother was complaining about cutting weight years ago. My dad's like, quit. He's like, I'm not going to quit. He's like, go wrestle heavyweight. He's like, I'm too small for heavyweight. Dad, I'm trying to make 105. He's like, go up to 112. He's like, no, I can make 105. I'm a 105 pounder. My dad's like, then shut the hell up and quit making us miserable. We don't care if you wrestle. You can quit. I don't care. And my brother's like, that changed his whole life. He's like, okay, cutting weight was easy. And he won the state title that year, right? Sometimes we need to hear that, don't we? Okay? So control your thoughts. Don't think about home. Think about that state title that you haven't won. Think about that crying under the bleachers that you did again after you lost again. And all the promises you made to yourself. Don't you start thinking about home or your buddies. No. You have got work to do. We're not even close to being done, right? And remind yourself that you love it and show up here with a happy attitude. No one wants to hear your whiny crap, okay? Number 3, that graphic says Into the Storm. There's a buffalo on it. So we like that because it's a philosophy of life, isn't it? So as far as a philosophy of life, it says the buffalo goes into the storm, the herd. If there's a big storm, a blizzard coming, they start going into the storm. Because when the sleet and rain and frozen rain and snow is hitting them, they just storm right through it. Because that way they can go through it. They don't have to get rained on as much. So you got to go head on into this camp, right? So that's a philosophy of life. you might need to adopt that. There's a famous CrossFit guy, Matt something, I think, and that's his kind of philosophy. And I had heard that, and I Googled it, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. That is coolest. So I was like, I'm putting that graphic up, okay? I don't have room for every graphic, but remind yourself you love it, and Into the Storm. It was a toss-up, and I decided to put that up there. So that's a good philosophy you can have, isn't it? Right? See, some of us are great wrestlers, but you don't have great philosophy. You don't have it, and you just never been taught. You think everything's about your single leg and how many push-ups you can do. No, you got to have a good philosophy. You got to, like David Taylor said, you got to compete with a smile. You got to want to do this, okay? You got to trick yourself. Sometimes you got to fake it. You don't feel like it, say, right? So Into the Storm, I think, is a good philosophy that you guys can benefit from. And the last thing I'll say is, this is how we talk to our parents. Hey, honey, how's camp going? Amazing, I'm doing great. Oh, that sounds good. Sounds like you're really doing well. You're doing awesome. How's the practices? Amazing. How's the food? Wonderful. You making friends? Tons of friends. Are you kicking everybody's butt? A lot of them. Got my butt kicked also, but that's part of it. I'm attacking that kid tomorrow. Do you miss home? Yeah, but I got work to do. It's just that. Oh, I'm doing good. How are you doing? How's Dad? No, you're going to get your mom and dad all... No, I'm fine. What'd you expect? I'm a winner. Your son's no wimp, right? Just practice how you talk on the phone to your parents. It's going to be so important, because when you talk to your parents or your friends or your girlfriend on the phone and you get all whiny because, hey, maybe you do get a little bit tired. Maybe you do get a little bit homesick. It's okay to be a normal human and have normal human thoughts. That's one of our philosophies and talks. It's okay to be a normal human and have normal human thoughts. It is okay. It's sometimes you just got to deal with it and knock it off. Because what happens is this. Kids never go home and say, oh, I quit. I couldn't take it. I wasted all your time and money. I give up. This camp's too hard. I miss home. I quit. I give up. Come get me. I can't take it. It's always, the moves are no good. The food is no good. There's no cool kids here. The coaches are not awesome. I mean, it's just so many excuses, right? So I want you to practice how you present yourself, even when it does get hard, right? And you've been here 11, 12, 13 days, and you're like, okay? So it's important that you practice your body language and how you communicate with others and how you communicate with each other. And you just, my dad used to call it a whipping boy. I remember one time, me or my brother, we were getting beat in a tournament, and we kind of walked like this, and my dad's like, whoa, rewind that. He's like, no kid of mine is going to walk onto or off of the mat like that. Never again. We don't do that. And he said, I don't care if you're going for 15th place at the Rockbridge Open, because if we had a tournament back in my day, it was a 16-man bracket, and you wrestled for 15th or 16th place. Kind of embarrassing to get 16th, I would say. He's like, I don't care if you're at Rockbridge and you get 16th place. You walk like a man off of that mat. That's how we're going to do it, because I'm not putting up with anything less. And see, that was good. I needed to hear that as a 14-year-old. Some of you have never heard that, have you? Right? You're learning all about sensitivity training and be in touch with your emotions and share how you feel. And that's true if there's some serious stuff, that just to wrestle, there's 60-year-old women that can run, 30 miles through the desert. And there's people doing like 240-mile runs who are like 55 years old. You're a strong 16-year-old man. You can't wrestle 3 times a day? Come on, right? So I want you to think about that. How you communicate with your parents at home. And it's going to be very helpful. It makes you feel so good too, okay? Good. So one last thing. Remember that your confidence comes from how hard you work, not your win-loss record. Because if I feel good about myself at the end of the day, because I put the work in, my self-esteem and confidence comes from myself, doesn't it? Right? And if I didn't, maybe I'm a little bit injured, maybe I just say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to crush a home run today. I'm just going to get through the practice. Then I'm going to get through one more. Then I'm going to get through the last one. I'm not even trying to get through the day. I really feel terrible. I don't want to be here. I'm tired. Sometimes we just have those days. But you do not quit. You don't give up. You just make it one more minute until you get through the day. Then tomorrow you come back and you crush a home run. Okay? Allow yourself to be a human. It's okay to be a human, a normal human, have normal human thoughts and feelings. And sometimes we're just not going to have a great day. Sometimes you're not going to crush it. But you showed up and you got through the day, didn't you? And you feel just as good about yourself as those days. And probably better when you things weren't really good and you still performed and made it through the day. You almost feel better about yourself than it's easy to kick butt on the days you feel amazing, right? So keep that in mind too. Okay, so we're going to control our thoughts. We're going to trust that this is the plan that we need to do. We're going to remember to go into the storm if we have to. We're going to be happy because no one's making us wrestle. We like to wrestle, don't we? And we're going to have good communication and body language. And we're going to just look like a man. And we're going to talk like a man. And some of you guys are like, I'm only 16. I'm not a man. There's only like 4 countries in the world. I mean, you'd be fighting a war right now in most countries, all right? Or supporting a family or helping with you're a man. So you want to be a man and make yourself proud, okay? So we got to finish up. We have 15 minutes of a little bit of review. And as always, anything you need, you communicate with us. Our numbers are hanging all over the gym. You got it at check-in. Call, text us if you need anything. We're always here to help you guys to make sure you have an awesome camp. And so let's finish up this last 15 minutes of review. But this is my first time to chat with you guys. And we got to what? We got to get everybody on the same page, because I know it's not going to be easy for some of us. And I want you to kind of have the programming beforehand so that you can crush it. So we're going to be proud of ourselves on day 14. Am I right? All right, break on 2. 1, 2.